Good afternoon. My name's Tabitha Myler, and I'm here with Randy Jordan. And I'm going to let Randy introduce his company as well as tell us a little bit about the company and what they do. Randy?
Yes, I'm Randy Jordan. I'm owner and managing partner of Graham County Land Company. Graham County Land Company is a company that my father started early 70s. The name went full bore in the construction business 4 years ago, and doing a lot of work all across the southeast.
Yeah, and I did see that as I was doing a little bit of research that originally it started in 1972. It looks like your father passed away in 94, and then back in 2013 you kind of did a revamp and a rebranding of the company to get it ready to do some of the things you're looking to do now.
That is correct. So we're heavy into the construction business before it was just more or less a land holding company.
I kind of remember that. I insured some of those things before. So let's start back at the beginning. Even before this company, you were born into a construction family, and so I always like to kind of go way back and see if people have images, some real vivid memories that they might have since your dad was involved. Do you remember Phillips and Jordan, your dad and uncle's company from way back? Do you have some memories of that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was born in a construction family, and so I've known it all my life. Been around their shops, their equipment.
I bet it was really cool being a little boy and being able to play on those big tractors and backhoes.
It was, and I aggravated a lot of people, as a kid playing around stuff that I wasn't supposed to play with.
Yeah.
So,
and back then you probably got to play nowadays OSHA. You
yeah,
probably can't
right.
let anybody on the
Right.
equipment
So,
nowadays. Well, I know the family business isn't for everybody, but why did you decide to stay? What made you want to get involved in the family business?
Well, I don't know that it was a particular choice other than just when I got out of high school, had no intentions really of going to college. I wanted to go to work, and so I went to work for myself for a while. Then I went to work for my uncle Leonard Phillips, and then I ended up over at Phillips and Jordan and stayed there 25 years. So.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about your Uncle Leonard, because he did some of that kind of work too.
Yeah.
I think maybe the brothers were kind of in rival business there for a
little
while.
They were ego maniacs against each other.
Push each other a little bit harder.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I know there was a parting of ways between your father's business, Phillips and Jordan, and the current ownership. To my understanding, I know that there were some different views of the direction that the company was going to go, something that probably didn't sit that well with you. Are there still any hurt feelings about that since it was your family's business? Or are you just kind of focused on the future and going forward?
No, there's no hard feelings. I mean, I had a great career, very profitable and beneficial for me for 25 years, and so there's one thing consistent about life, and that's change. It's always going to be changing. So it was time to change for me. Me getting away, or leaving Phillips and Jordan, starting my own company. I'm working with my two sons here, working with a crowd of people that worked with me forever at Phillips and Jordan.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing it in the place I want to be, which is Robbinsville, and so it's been a great transition.
That's good. Well, I know I did see some very interesting things, and I don't think people even realize, as far as Phillips and Jordan goes, a lot of cool projects. I mean, when I started highlighting some of these things, I saw reclamation, rehabilitation, tornado recovery, probably things to do with dams and flooding, the Horizon oil spill, canal projects, rock slides, more hurricanes, ice storms, turkey incineration, bark beetle tree removal. But the ones that really, and I know this for being in this community, that kind of touched me the most is you guys were actually involved in the 9/11 cleanup and categorizing of all the debris up there. And I knew some of your associates that worked up there, and a lot of them even had to have some counseling when they came back from that. Talk a little bit about some of this type of work and what it can do to a person, and you know, the challenges of this specialized kind of work that you guys do.
Well, at Phillips and Jordan, we developed a niche of being in disaster, what we call disaster recovery business. And in my lifetime, we worked some of the most high-profile projects and related to disasters or emergency type operations. We worked 9/11, like you said, at the World Trade Center. We worked Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. I lived inside the flooded area in New Orleans for a number of months. We've worked every major natural disaster in this country for the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, at some point somebody told me you could move like over 1,000 pieces of equipment within 24, 48 hours. Was it something like that?
We had an intense pedigree to show up quick with a lot of resources, and that's one of the reasons we kept getting called over and over and over. So
yeah,
we did do the forensic recovery mission at the World Trade Center, and so we didn't actually work at Ground Zero. We worked on Staten Island, and we had a location set up to where all the debris coming could be.
is that where the barge kind of took things
Yeah,
out
the
to you
barge
guys?
took it from Manhattan to Staten Island. At Staten Island, we offloaded it, done all the segregation as far as forensic identification of all the different parts and pieces, and so.
I can only imagine. But now let's move on to your business now. And like I said, it looks like it was July of 2013 where you started a rebranding effort into this company. And so I know it probably took a lot to get the company up and running. Tell some of the entrepreneurs out there a little bit about cash flow and personal sacrifices and letters to previous clients, and how do you let them know that you're going in a different way, and other things about, were there any non-competes and kind of that whole startup thing?
Yeah, it's you know, starting a new business is one of the most difficult things any human being will ever do. You know, it's very taxing on you personally, your time, your emotions, mentally. You know,
I'd say it was hard for the family during that
yeah,
time too.
well, it's just anytime, you know, you go through that much change, you know, it's just it's difficult at times. So, you know, the biggest struggle to me for any business starting up is just being undercapitalized and not having sufficient starting money to do what you want to do. Unfortunately or fortunately, I had a big appetite, so you know, we've grown this business from nothing to you know, 150 employees, so we've grown it quick, but
Yeah, 2013 was just here, and I did see
Yeah.
that. I think on LinkedIn it had you guys listed between 51 and 200 employees, and it currently looks like you guys are in 10 states and 150 projects. You might have even expanded since that has been updated.
yeah, we've actually got several different companies. We got Graham County Land Company, and we've got National Civil, which is another company, and we've got a company that we own a couple rock quarry locations in called Western Materials.
So these are like affiliates that the reason why you've probably opened them, partnered with them, because it makes sense. You need these kind of people to pull off the kind of work that you're doing.
Yeah, what my vision was is I brought other people in to these other companies and let them have an ownership stake, to have them vested in those companies alongside me, to just to get them fully committed to making sure that they gave it 110%. You know.
Well, and that was kind of one of the things I had on here is when I was viewing the company website, I did see that you had partners, and I didn't really even know that until I started researching the company. And so one of my questions kind of leading to that is, how did those people get to be partners of yours, other than previous work relationship? Was it more sweat equity, knowledge and know-how? Did they have some cash that they could invest in the businesses? Why did you choose these particular folks to be in business with you?
The particular folks that I've ended up here was it's a combination of the ones that were loyal to me. I had a past working history with them. They sort of got boxed out a little bit during the transition. Some of those people that's involved in the other as partners got cash money in the deal, and then some of them just got sweat equity in the deal. So there's a variety of different approaches. The main thing is picking the quality of person you want to have on your team, and just being familiar with that person. I mean, Julie Hancock is here with me. She worked with me for 20 years at Phillips and Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
She's still here now, and so Julie spent 2 years at the World Trade Center living in Manhattan.
Wow.
And so, she's proven to be
very loyal,
very
dedicated.
loyal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that it's probably great for people in our community to be involved like that, because they're making a paycheck, and those paychecks have a ripple effect in our own community, because those are spending dollars
one
that
of the
can go
things,
into
one
our
of the things
economy.
at Phillips and Jordan, we always gave incentive bonuses based on profits, and I knew starting this business, and I knew that I would never be able to give bonuses to the extent that had some of these people had received previously. So as a trade-off to those bonuses or incentives, I gave them some ownership percentages in the company, and I think that'll be a worthwhile deal for everybody.
Yeah, you put a little bit more into it. I mean, you're going to be able to get some more money out of it eventually. So maybe this hasn't changed too much, because it does seem like the company is growing fairly quickly. What's the difference in 2013 and where the company is today? Tell me a little bit about the early days versus what it's like today.
Well, the business that we're in, the construction business, is very capital intensive. It takes a lot of heavy equipment, which is expensive. Getting over those growing pains of having adequate working capital, adequate credit for equipment purchases. One of the major challenges for me was today, in this world, we all live with credit cards. People operate with credit cards. Nobody carries cash. And so, when you're a single entrepreneur like myself, and you start looking for a credit card with $100,000 limit, and you need 80 cards, that sort of throws everybody a little bit.
Yeah.
That's
you're just getting started. I
Yeah,
don't know if we
yeah.
want to bank on you or not.
So having credit cards and a credit card program to keep everybody functioning in the field, we basically buy all rooms, lodging, fuel, travel expenses are all on credit card.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So it's that was a part that a young entrepreneur needs to realize. It takes
Well,
money.
it seems like,
money and credit to flow.
Yeah, and 2013, it's far enough away from 2008 where that really hurt so many businesses. Construction almost went to a halt. I'd say thank goodness it didn't happen back then, and it kind of happened. Has everything rebounded from 2008?
Well, not really, but 2013 was a very good time to do it, because we were coming off of a terrible recession, and things were getting back to normal. The market since 13 till now has been going up and growing. There's more work, but so it was not the perfect time, but it was a good time rather than prior to 2008.
Right. Tell us a little bit, because I do think there's some students at Western Carolina in the construction management program. What makes a good new team member, and what kind of entry-level positions do you have for folks that are coming out of college?
Well, we're continuously looking for young talent that either has an engineering or construction management degree. It'd be great if some of those had some previous construction experience somewhere.
And you mentioned to me at one time that you do some internships in the summertime for folks that are interested. Yeah,
we have not done any here at Graham County Land Company. We should be, but we've not. But we're definitely willing to do it and look at it.
And maybe that's something Western can really help you out with.
At Phillips and Jordan, we had several interns who were local here that worked for us in the summer. And I know they currently have some now. Phillips and Jordan does some college students that are going to Knoxville
Okay.
to do that. We feel to our business here, the people that are here are part of our GCL family, and we treat them like family. If they need something, we help them. If their family's got issues, we help them. We have dogs in the building. We got pups in the building.
Yeah.
We got kids in the building. We accommodate our business around having teenagers and kids around. So it's more of a GCL working family than it is a regimented, policy-driven business.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing about growing with some companies sometimes, because you get so many people, you have to start following all this red tape and regulation.
True.
So where do you see your company going in the next few years? Do you see like expanding into different regions? Do you see more partners? What do you kind of foresee? Where's the company going?
Well, eventually the business is gonna expand out. We're gonna have some offices in other locations. Not sure who will head up those other offices, but we'll probably end up with definitely an office in Atlanta and an office in Raleigh, Durham. Those are two places we've worked in the past and had good experiences. Those are robust, growing economies in both of those cities.
Mm-hmm.
So, we wanna grow the business, but I think we wanna grow it in a way that it's creates a good quality of life for the GCL family of people.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't create that good quality of life, we're probably not interested in it, so.
Okay. And talking about family again, you have kids. I know there's a few other people that work here that have kids. Have the kids been interested in the business and learning about the business so far?
We've got, right now, we've probably got 6 to 10 teenagers, that are still in school,
Mm-hmm.
that either work part-time, or they do work part-time, but none of them are full-time, but, we've tried to integrate kids into the business and teenagers to try to teach them some of the things of life that you can't learn in school.
That's right. I
And
saw
so-
somebody was working a drone at one of your projects on Facebook. I think somebody.
Yeah.
So is that one of the teenagers out there working the aerial camera work to get some of that?
We haven't really got it to where we want to yet, but we know that drones, drone photography, video surveying, or drone surveying of pieces of land, or contour lines for mapping, whatever. All that's gonna be something for the future that construction companies are gonna have to deal with.
Right.
And so
Get in there, young people.
we
Learn
would
that
love
stuff.
for the young people to figure it out, so
Yeah.
us old people don't have to
That's right.
do it.
I know. I hear you. So I've seen some awesome pictures again on your Facebook page and other people that are in your company with your Christmas parties. So how do you reward yourself and your team members when it's had a job well done?
Well, if you want the honest, I could tell you a bunch of BS, but the honest approach is we're not very good about rewarding people.
Too busy.
We're too busy to get on to the next endeavor.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we're not good enough at saying, hey, good job. We're more worried about getting to the next job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I come from a teacher
Mm-hmm.
whose name was Ted Phillips,
Mm-hmm.
who his whole logic was never tell you what you do good, always tell you what you're doing wrong, and hope you never take offense to it and you go out and correct it. So that was sort of his mentality of leadership, and unfortunately I probably got the same trait.
Well, and unfortunately, the cupcake generation out there, they're not used to that kind of
True.
being dealt with, and I think a little bit of that needs to come back into the workplace for sure.
I think so.
Yeah, definitely. So, and somebody already told me the answer to this, I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Okay.
At the end of the day or the work week, how do you recharge and relax and get away from the business?
Well, I'm not good at that.
Yeah,
but-
somebody told me he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not good at that, but I have a tendency to want to work, all the time. But I do at this point enjoy seeing the weekends. I got a place out on Big Snowbird on the creek that I go some weekends.
Okay.
Some weekends I like to just get out of Robbinsville.
Yeah.
Robbinsville being a small town, sometimes I like to go to the city
Mhm.
and I act like I'm another person in another world for a
Yep.
little while.
Yep. We do the same
And
thing.
it sort of gets me my sanity back.
Yeah. Oh, it is different when
Yeah.
you get away
And
from
so,
here.
I think seeing different cultures,
Yeah,
different people, different environments
definitely.
is all good and part of the learning experience.
Yeah,
of life.
good for the kids too. So lastly, I always think about this because I was in insurance, succession type planning, and I think that's important for entrepreneurs to kind of know what that means about, you know, if you pass away, your other partners, do they really want to be in business with your wife? Does your
Mhm.
wife want to continue to go forward with the business,
Mhm.
or is it that your sons take over? So there's this kind of planning that has to be done for people. Do you guys have some of those agreements worked out? Or?
We are, to answer your question, no. We're
Okay.
working on a succession plan which would create, it's sort of a buyout plan
Okay.
where all the partners will go out and buy a life insurance policy.
Mhm.
The company will pay for it on each individuals that are agreed to an amount to where if something happened to one of the partners, their family is automatically paid for their part of the company. And there's really there's no negotiations after the fact. It's an agreed to buyout plan that pays anybody's family out in the event that one of us dies prematurely.
Okay.
Obviously that plan can be changed. We all have kids.
Right.
You know, I have, my son Storm is working in business, but still again, you know, there's kids that wanna engage, there's kids that don't.
Right.
And we've gotta get a better plan together to make sure we don't leave any family hung with something they don't want.
Right.
Or in the position they don't need to be in.
Right. And then just to finish it up, I think sometimes people like to know, like, what is the day in the life of Randy Jordan? I mean, are you constantly having meetings on the phone? Is it conference calls? Is people bringing you things to sign? Are you actively having to go to the sites? Tell us a little bit about your work day and how you kind of manage the flow.
Well, I get up, you know, every morning, come here, usually stop and eat breakfast somewhere, but, unfortunately my life is a paperwork world. I'm not a fan of paperwork. I'd rather be out in the field somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of, my wife don't hardly understand, but I've told her before if I could do anything I wanted to, I'd be a dump truck driver. I'd just go haul dirt.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I like. You know, I like to knock down trees and move dirt. You know, so, but unfortunately, if you want to run a business and own your own business, it's, you know, the different components of it between insurance, bonding and sureties, accounting, banking, you know, equipment, financing. You know, there's all these different pots that just take a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And somebody's gotta be here paying attention while somebody else gets to do the fun part and be out playing the dirt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm 50 years old at this point, so my dirt playing's over with,
Yeah.
I guess, kinda.
Yeah.
But, so, you know, I love to get out to the jobs, don't get out to the jobs near enough, but what I want to, but, you know, luckily we have some work going on locally, so.
Okay.
I
That keeps
always
people
drive-
close to home.
Yeah, I always drive those guys crazy around
Yeah.
here, I show up too much.
Yeah.
So,
Any last parting words of wisdom to the entrepreneurs, people that are really wanting to start a business? We know we need to tell them that it's crazy. It could be really crazy, but any other kind of parting words of wisdom
no,
to
I
the
guess,
audience?
you know, what you gotta understand is that, you know, I came out of high school at 18-year-old and thought I know everything about the world.
They all think that.
And, business myself at 18. Had a sawmill, had 15 tractor trailers hauling to the West Coast when I was 18 years old, and I miserably failed. I didn't file bankruptcy, but I probably should have, but I miserably failed.
Okay.
So, you know, and I've come back from that to be, that was the best education I could have got at 18.
You hear that from a lot of different entrepreneurs about the failure and what you
So,
learn from it.
You gotta understand that failure is something in life that's hard to endure, it's hard to tolerate it, it's hard to accept it, and a lot of times your lifestyle has to change when you have failure, but unfortunately it's part of being in business. Not all businesses succeed at first.
Right.
And so, you know, it's a challenge, but you gotta understand when you go in that if it was easy, everybody'd be billionaires.
That's right.
So it's not easy.
That's right.
There's nothing easy about it. So, so it's a tough road.
Well, thank you so much for your time. And my camera person over here, Megan, thank you for your time. My name's Tabitha Myler. I'm in the Masters of Entrepreneurship at Western Carolina University. We're signing off and appreciate